Now, when you got a problem that comes up, there are 4 ways to deal with it. Number 1, first of all, soften the problem. Number 2, isolate it. People who have issues want to go off in 6 directions, don't they? They want to beat you up on all 6. Isolate it. Find out what the real issue is. Isolate the problem. Number 3, rephrase it. Rephrase it means to state it back in words they understand. So they'll understand what the problem is and then work toward a solution. Too often, we go in 6 directions. Let's try to solve the problem. This is the most important message. I am not your enemy. It's like the lady I'm standing in Chicago airport. This is back when Eastern Airlines was in business. This guy was reaming this lady a new one. I mean, in her face, screaming and yelling at her. Finally, she just stuck her hands in her pocket and she said, "Sir, there's 2 people in this world that give a damn about your problem, and one of them is fast losing interest." I thought to myself, that's an interesting way to put that. One of them is fast losing interest. You know, screaming and yelling at people is not going to solve your problem. I don't have problems when I get on an airplane. First thing I do when it used to be the greatest airline, Delta. I don't know what's going on with them anymore, but every time I used to fly out of Columbia, I flew Delta. I mean, they were a great airline here. I always got good service. I was a flying colonel. They gave me a plaque, all that crap, you know. And I never had problems with Delta, because the first thing I do when I get on Delta is I always ask the flight attendant for the name and the address of her supervisor or his supervisor. "Sir, is there a problem?" No problem. I want to write him a thank you note for the wonderful service I'm about to receive. Hey, y'all pray over your food before you eat it, don't you? Figure I'd pray over the service before I got it, you know. For years, I wrote to a guy named John Hume in Atlanta, complimenting his flight attendants on the wonderful job they'd done for me. "Dear Mr. Hume," and I never had a stamp with me. I always wrote it on the back of one of my cards that had my biographical junk on the other side. And I wrote, "What a wonderful job. Stephanie did a wonderful job on the flight today. She's terrific. She deserves a raise." I always wrote something different about each one of them. It was always specific. It was always of interest to them. And I'd always give it to the flight attendant. I said, "Would you deliver this? Because I don't have a stamp with me." You talking about same-day delivery? I found out that Delta promotes its flight attendants based on the attaboys or attagirls they have in the file. So it makes sense. I always got terrific service. I'd get upgraded when I didn't deserve to get upgraded. You know, because they were always trying to please me. One day I got a letter from Mr. Hume. I always got letters back from him, by the way. He always write back, "You did, thank you, thank you, thank you." It was a typical form letter, but written personally and all that. He wrote back one day, he says, "Dear Mr. On, stop writing." He said, "I retired 2 years ago."